Hey everybody, my name is Kevin and welcome to Kev's Vibe of the Day. Let's get right to the cards in today's message. Here we go. So I was sifting and sorting and meditating and here comes the medicine woman, or the medicine mother, I should say. And the message really is, you know what you have to do. And when the medicine mother shows up, the message underneath it is to honor the inner knowing. And of course, it leads us to this famous quote, Mother Knows Best, which is written in the guidebook to these cards. Incidentally, these are the Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards by Kyle Gray with images by Lily Moses. I sat and I pondered, what would the medicine mother want us to know? When we face adversity, when we're looking for nurturing, the nurturing and the knowing of what we need gets revealed underneath layers and layers and layers of old patternings, old habits, old thoughts. And there's this knowing of what we want to do, what we'd like to go after, what we'd like to pursue. And then somewhere in the middle seems to be this abyss of fear. This what if, where, how, and there is a hanging on to something that feels comfortable. Oh my goodness, I don't know. Oh my goodness, those kind of thoughts and the feelings. I sort of equate this card, the medicine mother, as many would Archangel Gabriel or Gabriel, depending on how you want to look at it. And of course, I don't necessarily believe and see archangels, or angels for that matter, as being gender specific. They've been presented in scriptures and history as being male or female energy. And just as we have direct and alternating current with electricity, you've got the feminine and the masculine. One is going to support the other. That's how it should be. So when we're looking at the medicine mother and her message for you today, it is that you're coming up upon, likely in your life, areas of great expansion, of great transformation, areas of your life that you have not experienced before. You're not on your own. There are others, your neighbors, your friends, your family, your parents, your sisters, your brothers, the extensions. New people are coming, old people are leaving. Now, I'm not saying old people as in the elderly, but old friends, old relationships. They're moving, they're shifting, they're changing. Now, somewhere in there, the old patterning that comes up would say, this is wrong. You know, lots of times when we transition from one place to the next, or go from, one situation to the next, a job to the next, there's always this feeling that we have to make what we are walking away from, leaving, giving up, going, the place we're leaving, the transition we're coming from is a bad thing, right? We make it a bad thing in a way, perhaps to justify the new thing. Might say things like there wasn't enough money, it was too far to drive, I didn't like the co-worker, the boss got on my nerves, whatever that is. And I'm using work as an example. Could be a relationship, could be a house, could be a car. There's all kinds of ways that we begin to justify the reason why we let something go. But really, up underneath it is the fear of what we're wanting, what we're looking to go after, what we're really looking to expand into hasn't yet happened. And the way it hasn't yet happened gives us the EBGBs. We're not really sure how it turns out. And the unfortunate part about most of us is we completely ignore the inner knowing, the bigger piece of the puzzle that says, if you were not supposed to take this transition, if you were not supposed to walk this path, it wouldn't be presented to you. You know, here we are, I'm learning, you're learning, I'm teaching, you're sharing, asking the non-physical part of who we are to reveal to us what we need to know. And the silliness of that is, well, we know what we want to know. I know what I want to know. Not necessarily what I need to know, but I know what I want to know. What I need to know is what I should be following. And there's a tiny piece of trust in there. Well, it's not a tiny piece, it's a big piece, which then interferes with fear. Remember, I have said there's these contrasting, sifting, shaping, and sorting. What the inner knowing, what the medicine mother is teaching you is not to be so, I got goosebumps, so I know they're here, not to be so fixated on the outcome, but to trust the inner knowing, the inner guidance, your intuition, your spiritual connection from the source. You're an extension of it. To trust it, that you're not necessarily going to be led where you're not supposed to go. Think of it this way. There are times in your life where you've wanted something so badly, so incredibly badly, so this, so that, so the other thing, and it doesn't happen. It won't happen. It can't happen. Whatever that is, there's a reason for it. And it's later on down the road when we look back at the journey that whatever did happen, whatever was for your pathway, was actually better. Except when you're on the front side, pushing and shoving and demanding and doing all of these things, having a tantrum, I've done it, you can't see that inner knowing. You can't follow that inner trust. So the spirit, the medicine mothers, the Father Sky, the Mother Earth, all of these non-physical helpers are stuck without a way in. And so I've been asked lots of times by clients and friends, and well, how do you know? You got to get quiet, shut out the noise, which is why meditation works so much. Shut off the distractions, including all of those stories. You know, I'm not knocking folks who live in their devices, but I am myself learning that some of that is such a distraction. It keeps me from knowing myself and following myself and working through things I need to work through. Same with, I think, television and entertainment. There are times when we can get into a show and a story of entertainment purposes and we're like, oh my goodness, fixated, what's the next episode? Let's see the next episode. And I know myself, I've spent hours binge watching something and realized I've just spent all afternoon watching this, all evening watching this. It's fine. I don't beat myself up. But what I'm trying to get through to you is there's distractions and then there's actions. The distraction is keeping you away from the action, the inner knowing, the following, one step forward, one step forward. And the other part of it is failure doesn't mean you're a failure. Something didn't quite work doesn't mean that it's your fault or you're to blame or you should point fingers. So the other part of the inner knowing, the medicine mother says, just take one step at a time. You know, the universe lines up as perfectly as it possibly can, but there's also other things lining up at the same time. So you're going to get these contrasting energies, contrasting situations, chaotic issues, things that just come, and they weren't necessarily planned, they just happen. So your inner knowing then makes whatever adjustments, and maybe it takes a sifting and a sorting to say, oh, my plan to do thus and so got derailed, delayed, sideswiped, diverted. So now what's possible? If you look at now what's possible, that inner knowing, you take one step at a time. It doesn't mean to say you won't get to the destination. You're just going to take a detour. It's just going to mean a little bit of a meander around it. And in that sifting and sorting, contrasting, meandering, you get to still be part of the journey. And sometimes, at least in my experience, something I've wanted so badly and thought I was on track to get somehow got diverted and something else showed up in its place. And I thought, oh, I think this is what I kind of like that. The challenge I've always had is, oh dear, I committed to this, but this is something I think is going to work better for me. The challenge I had was the idea that you can commit to something on Monday, you're allowed to change your mind Monday afternoon, and then you're allowed to do something else on Tuesday morning. The inner knowing is knowing the difference between, oh, yes, that works better for me, thank you. Not looking at it like, oh no, I committed to this, now I've got to do it. Then you're stuck. Then you find yourself stuck in this fear. This, oops, I should do this. Oops, I should do that. Not that you're supposed to go through life not caring, especially if it has to do with other people and joining other people, being part of a team. You could say to your team, if you're a part of a team, I know I've committed to this and I'm willing to commit to it further. However, this was presented to me and I would like to pursue it. I want to know if that's okay for me to do it. And typically it is. People just want the respect and the integrity to say, you know, you cared enough about them to ask them. And you also have to care enough about to ask them if they say, no, you committed, we need you on this. I think I'm going all over the place with this message because I can feel the spirit's going, really, where are you going with this? Okay. Where are we? Melody Beatty. Let's read from our book and then meditate. October the 24th, 2021. Share your heart with the world. Share your heart with the world. Share willingly, openly, joyfully, whatever you have. Let it be seen. Whatever you've learned, let it be shared. Don't tell people how to think. Don't tell them Don't tell people how you think you should have handled things. That's shame. It teaches others to feel ashamed too. Don't tell people how you wish you had handled things. That's needless regret that we pass on to others. Share honestly and openly about yourself, the way you felt, the things you thought. Share how going through your experience changed you. Talk about your resistance, your pain, the imperfect way you did things, the way you handle things now. Share honestly and openly. It teaches people around us the most helpful truth. That the imperfect way we live our lives is right for us. When we love and accept ourselves enough to honestly share who we are, it helps those we touch to believe that they're good enough too. Share your heart with the world, and you will bring healing to those you touch. That almost feels like a bit of a personal message to me. Thank you. Wow. I don't have anything to add to that other than I've learned a lot in the life I've lived. I've seen a lot and I've done a lot, and I often don't remind myself of what exactly I have done, particularly when I'm trying to do something and it feels so big so huge. I've often been steeped in what would other people think? What would other people do? And then there's the darkness of fear that is, my goodness, here I am doing all of this, taking all of this on. And the medicine mother's message is, you are where you are. It's your jumping off point. It's your step forward. So if you're one of those that's getting this, and there's a bit of a mess going on in your life, well, you can walk away from the mess, or you can look at the mess and see what the mess is teaching you. There's a lovely quote I learned a year or so ago: let your mess become your message. Let your problems become the pathway forward. It's all in how we look at where we are and what we've done. And you never know. Somehow, if you've overcome this huge adversity and challenge, and the old patterns have come up and you've looked at them and you've sifted, sorted, and dealt with what you needed to, you might inspire somebody else to see that, failures and flaws are not terrible things. They just happen to be not the bright, shiny that you want to show the world. I'm not saying that we should sit in our failures and our flaws for too long. That's festering and that's looking for attention. But learn from them and then see, oh, this is what happened for me, not what you think other people should do. And maybe that's your lesson. All right, let's meditate. Eyes down, palms up. And for this morning, bring yourself to the point where you can slow down and control the amount of beats it takes to inhale, and then exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, feel your feet on the floor. Breathe out, let go of struggle. Breathe in, let the energy rise up through your body. Breathe out, release what doesn't serve you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And keep going just like that. There's a dynamic connection right now between your physical body and your inner being. Your physical body is directing your inner being to make the connection to breath. To relax completely, totally, to feel grounded, to feel present. Know that it's normal to be distracted by thought and for thought to come in, go, drift in and out. And if there is a collection of thoughts around a situation that has become distraction, a boulder, an obstacle, getting in the way of your highest good and your highest truth, obscuring your vision to what's possible. Take a breath in, pull it into your mind's eye, your heart center, and the groundedness of your feet. As you take a breath out, see this issue, challenge, obstacle, hurdle, blockage. See it breaking down into smaller particles. Smaller particles enough you can start to see it dissipate, clear out. Get quiet. Use this connection and affirm with your inner being. Ask for the inner knowing. What does my inner being think about this? What does my inner being know about this? How does my inner being feel about this? Passing obstacles, issues, challenges, blockages, anything that stands in the way of peace, joy, love, progression, passing them over to the inner being. Lets it be put where it should be put. There's a question mark. The answer from your inner being will be revealed sometimes it takes half a day to get the message, but let the question to your inner being go. Continue breathing, continue sifting and sorting. Being truthful to how you feel in the right now, peaceful and quiet, accepting what is heard, the sounds outside your space. Go with it, flow with it, be with it, deal with it. Allow nothing to separate you, to move you from your center of gravity, your center of knowing. When you feel complete, bring your hands to prayer at heart center. Lift your thumb knuckles to your third eye center, and together we bow and say Namaste. There's always love, and there's always hope, there's always joy, there's always laughter, there's always fear. There's always. We are constantly stories in motion. We create new stories. There are no rules to this life. There are guidelines, there are margins, there are things that we do to keep from danger, if you will, whatever. But there's no rules to it. Well, there are laws. I'm talking physical, but the story of life, the pathway of life, the soul. Look at it like a new day, brand new day to learn new things. All right, until next time. Bye.